I got a lot of those that happened right at the top of divorce action when both people were in the house and one person wanted to get the other person out of the house.
It may be that, in fact, there is no violence, but they make it up because they've talked with their friends or they've gone to a lawyer who've said, well, make it up, and if you really do a good job, then you can get him kicked out. Now you're in the house. You have a big leg up in keeping the kids and maybe keeping possession of the house.
I've counseled women and a few men on how to get the other side thrown out of the house.
How hard is that to do?
If you follow my instructions, easy.
Domestic violence, first of all, is defined so broadly. There's so many things that can count as domestic violence that it's not hard. It's not hard to be accused of domestic violence.
It's really a travesty the way the system that it was designed to protect women from domestic abuse, to protect children from abuse, to protect children from sexual abuse, a system that was set up with every good intention, that was set up to protect those who needed it, has been allowed to be subverted so that false accusers really are able to gain so much by making the false accusation.
Physical violence and sexual assault are crimes, and our justice system is set up to handle criminal accusations like this. But family courts also listen to and act upon such accusations. And because false accusations are so common during a divorce, these cases are typically not turned over to criminal court. Family court judges have to distinguish between true abuse victims and those crying wolf for financial gain.
Unfortunately, when you call the police and you tell them about bruising or whatever, their first reaction is not, are there any weapons in the house, or do you have medical records, or can I see the bruises? Their first reaction is, are you involved in a custody case?
When you use the system as a leg up, you're damaging all the women out there who are truly getting abused because it taints the whole system. You look at it with a tainted eye when people are crying wolf and there is none there. And judges get it wrong. It happens.
Tragedies like this perhaps would be handled differently if judges did not hear so many fictitious cries for protection. And because of these tragedies, some judges elect to issue restraining orders whenever an allegation of abuse is made, no matter how credible.
You hate to be wrong on a domestic violence charge. You err on the side of caution.
You're talking about a parent being thrown out of his or her home, cut off from his or her children, losing God knows how much in financial assets, right? And it's like, oh, it's slightly more likely that one side's telling the truth than the other. Boom, restraining order, done. A lot of times it's the attorney is driving this. The attorney wants to win. And the attorney knows that if their client can claim to be abused or make an accusation of abuse, that puts their client in the driver's seat, and they're that much more likely to win.
I felt like it was time for me to tell my side of the story because I've been quiet for so long. I mean, people are probably wondering why I don't get to see my son.
Mark decided to express himself privately to his friends on Facebook, believing that his First Amendment right of free speech would protect him.
And I simply said, if you're an evil, vindictive woman and you want to ruin your husband's life and take your son's father away from him completely, all you have to do is say that you're scared and they'll take him away. And I really just meant that in general because I've come to realize that just someone can just simply say, whether it's true or not, just making a claim about somebody is enough to just destroy a family, tear everyone apart. Within a few days, I got a letter in the mail from the court system. I'd had a contempt of court charge filed against me. And I explained to the magistrate that this is my private Facebook wall.
One of Mark's friends gave his ex-wife access to the Facebook post. Mark was found in contempt of court, even though he hadn't made his comments public.
He sentenced me to 60 days in jail or to publish a pre-written apology on Facebook. And it read something to the effect that, I apologize to my wife, Elizabeth Byron, for shedding her in an unfavorable light. And he also went on to make me apologize for making claims that the courts were keeping me from seeing my child. I didn't make it to the full 30 days of apologizing. You know what? Enough is enough. I'm not going to do this anymore. And when I went before the judge, John Seavey, I was fully prepared to tell him that, no, I'm not going to apologize anymore.
Mr. Byron, in the course of history, There have been many champions of the First Amendment. You, sir, are not one of them. The finding of contempt will be purged as substantial compliance is hereby recognized.
I would have liked to see him incarcerated for at least a weekend.
You know what? I think people need to know that it doesn't take much for a family to get split up. You know, just some simple allegations that can be really frivolous. Many people reached out to me with like heartfelt condolences about, you know, similar experiences that they'd had, where the court system had gotten in the middle of their family and torn it apart. It definitely opened my eyes, and it made me feel, you know, kind of humbled to have a chance to at least let my story get out. Maybe in some way it could make a difference.